Okay, so so we're all aware, we're going to record this and we'll officially kick off. Let me tell you about Katie's background. Katie is passionate about meeting clients where they are to identify individualized strategies to find freedom from pain. She has been a physical therapist for 10 years, focusing on orthopedics and pain neuroscience. She obtained an orthopedic clinical specialty certification in 2018 and a therapeutic pain certification in 2020. Additionally, she has been teaching yoga since 2012 and incorporates aspects of the practice into her work as a therapist, in addition to teaching private sessions and classes. She's passionate about both education for herself and her clients. So I'm really excited to hear all you have to share with us, Katie. And let me know if you need any help with like sharing your screen. And I'll let you take it away. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I was just looking to see that I do have the share screen button there. Oh, it says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Okay, let me fix that. That will just take me a moment.
Okay.
Asked me that when we were setting up.
She doesn't have that many people for this.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, this is something I don't usually do once I've started, and I know how to do it, but it's just going to take me a minute to.
And it's not a huge deal if you can't. I mean, they have some images, but everything I have, I can always get sent out to people. So.
No, I think I can. I'm going to invite you to do it now. I just figured it out. Nope, that's not the right one. Sorry, give me one more second. More. Okay, so I'm going to make you the host, which will allow you to do it.
Okay.
There's one person in the waiting room, so that's the only thing. If you're the host, you have to keep an eye on that.
Okay.
And just do admit. Or maybe it made you a co-host. I don't know. We're all learning about all these things.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm changing the host and we'll figure it out, but you should be good now. There we go.
Oh, why isn't it letting me present now? Oh, there we go. All right, I figured out how to use technology. Everyone's figured out how to use technology. All right, so I have used the phrase finding calm amidst the chaos in many places and many things related to my work. And today, actually, I had like the perfect example of why that is, and that also highlights why none of the things that I'm going to be talking about tonight are like perfection around trying to manage stress and manage things. I think most of us have probably heard like, just relax, just try to stretch, do this, do that. Everyone has like, just do these 6 things. It's not easy to do any of them in the worlds we're in. So I was, earlier today, took my dog to the vet. We've had him for like 6 weeks now, and we have 2 dogs. So he has like, he's attached to her. He trusts her more than us. And so he was alone in the car. He was freaked out, shaking, barking. Right before we get to the vet, I'm like, what am I smelling? I look, he's pooped in the backseat of the car. As we pull into the parking lot, he lays down right in it. As the vet techs are coming out, I get a phone call from the scheduler at my per diem job that was like completely turning my schedule around in a stressful way. Luckily, the vet was fantastic. Highly recommend VCA Wakefield. They were like, this is a small problem in terms of the things we deal with. They gave me stuff to clean my car. They cleaned him up. He came out all stressed out, got partway in my car. My phone rang. It was my doctor I'd been waiting for a call back from. So I answer that. He jumps out of the car, almost gets out of his harness. I go to wrestle him back in. He snaps at me. And naturally, I'm a human. I was very distraught. I was stressed out and exhausted, but I started laughing in the car. I was like, this is why I call it finding calm amidst the chaos, because it's not about trying to find ways to, never feel stress or have everything go perfect. It's about finding ways to kind of cope with it all, because stuff happens. It was quite a scene. My husband was lucky to not have to be the one dealing with that. And, you know, I know the role that stress plays in pain because I've been there, done that when it comes to pain running my life. And that's part of why I have chosen to help others find the same freedom. I now know that we first have to make peace with pain and stop living life like it's a battle against it. And this is why I support busy people to find the opportunity for freedom from persistent pain through being present and mindful. So when I was in grad school, the combination of the long hours in the library, plus, you know, poor posture, working on a laptop, all of that and stress took a huge toll on me. And I had headaches pretty much every day for about 2 years of my 3-year graduate program. And I felt like I was doing everything right. I went to the student health center and I got muscle relaxants, which were helpful for getting sleep, but you know, I couldn't take them during the day and be functional. I don't know if anyone's ever taken muscle relaxants, but most people are a little drowsy. I went to physical therapy, a couple different places actually. I went to a chiropractor. Both of those things helped. You know, I'd get a few hours of relief, and then, you know, within the same day or the next day, I'd have a headache again. I went to yoga. Sometimes it helped. Sometimes it made me feel worse. And I tried not to go crazy every time someone told me to just relax, because many people told me it was stress and just relax, which I think most of us know does not work. So I was frustrated, disappointed, and overwhelmed. I also felt like as a PT student, I should know how to manage it. And I was doing all the things I thought I should, and I knew something had to change. I just couldn't figure out what. The reality is I, at the time, didn't quite figure it out. I moved on to my clinical rotations. I moved on to, you know, working as a PT, and the headaches more or less went away. I don't know when exactly. I think for many of us, when we have pain, we notice it. When it goes away, we don't notice it and we don't think about it. But within a few years, I started to get intermittent headaches, and I also had a lot of hip pain that would kind of come and go, and it felt often kind of nonsensical. Like I couldn't quite figure out what made it happen. You know, what made it happen that day versus another. And I would stress to figure out what to do when I had the pain, and then when the pain went away, I would just move on again. And then after a few years, I was under significant stress. I was going through multiple medical procedures while working full time and just dealing with life in general. And at that time, the stress that I was feeling was taking a toll on my mental health. And in addition, I was also having headaches, jaw pain, hip pain. I think things that a lot of people are dealing with and have experienced too. And I had exhausted all my options. I had checked all the boxes, and I had to admit that what I needed to do was address my mental health and deal with that aspect of it. And I realized that as I focused on my mental health, my pain started improving too. While I had been reading about the mind-body connection for years through my work as a therapist, as a yoga instructor, and just my own personal interests, I had really not made the connection in my own life. Even though I was making it in other people's lives, I wasn't always making it in my own. And this is when I realized that living a life with freedom from pain is more than just treatment modalities. There is an easier, more effective way, and that the quote unquote traditional physical therapy strategies are valuable tools, but alone they're not always enough. So there are ways that are more than a Band-Aid and that are accessible to everyone, even if you have limited resources. So this is not about finding 3 hours a day to, you know, meditate and take a long walk and all of that, because most people, if you're feeling this way, you don't have 3 hours a day. So it took me about a decade of practice until I recognized there was that disconnect between what I was doing with my clients and what I truly believed that they needed. I realized that the things that had worked for me were the same things that could work for my clients. So I decided to further my education about pain. That's when I got my therapeutic pain specialist certification. And that really helped me to bridge the gap between the mind and body and my physical therapy practice. So I know that my headaches and hip pain were always more than just what was going on with my muscles and joints. Obviously, that was a factor, but taking a holistic approach and addressing the mind body with small changes is what helped me to really take control and break that cycle. There is a space for the traditional treatment modalities, and that's part of how I care for myself and my clients too. But I now look at what else may need to be addressed. Many people believe that if they try a little harder, they will win and conquer their pain. But I believe that with the right strategies for yourself, your lifestyle, your body, you will have the ability to live the life you want and feel better doing it. There's a science, I always tell people this, there's a science to medicine, there's a science to finding freedom from pain, but every body has a different science. So what works for one person isn't necessarily what's going to work for the other. And I think that can be frustrating for providers and, for people seeking help when you're like, why do you not just know what box I need to check to do it? But the reality is everyone's a little bit different, and I hold space for people to be able to find what the strategies are that work for them. So I went through that. So if people just wanted to, in the chat box, just kind of give me a sense of where you're at. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being you don't feel confident at all, 10 being you feel very confident. How confident do you feel that you know 2 things you can do when you feel back pain or headache coming on when you are stressed? Oh, what did I just do? And then the other one is, how confident are you that you know what to do to prevent yourself from getting to that point that you have the headache or that you're having that pain? So again, we're talking about headaches, but a lot of times it's like headache, neck pain, shoulder, lower back, just kind of that general achy stress kind of thing. So it's just helpful to see where people are at and how people are feeling with it all. So my hope for you today is that you'll understand why you feel the pain, how stress and pain feed each other, and most importantly, how you can take control now. So just a standard disclaimer, the information I'm sharing with you today is intended for general education and instructional purposes. Nothing should be construed as individualized medical advice. So always seek the guidance of your provider. And if there is potential opportunity for me to play a role in that for you, I'll share at the end how you can connect with me. So first thing I want to kind of go through is actually why pain exists. So I am a self-proclaimed pain science nerd. So to me, this stuff is really interesting, but I'm going to take a kind of wide view of it for you. And the reality is the research shows, like, if we understand why we're in pain, it actually can help us feel a lot better. So I'm sure many people have been there where it's like, oh, I have a headache again. Why does this happen all the time, every day when I'm stressed? And we start to kind of beat ourselves up about it. And having that understanding can actually make a big, yes, Lynn, exactly. Those Legos are not just a random choice there. So I actually like to use stepping on a Lego as the analogy for, why we have pain. So, because I think pretty much everyone has stepped on a Lego at some point in their life. So when you step on a Lego, the nerve fibers in your foot send a message up to your brain. Your brain processes the information and sends danger messages down to the nerves in your foot. Those nerves are what cause the pain. And that's a good thing, because we look down and we say, we pull the foot away. We don't just stay standing on a Lego for 10 minutes with all the little knobs digging into your foot. So you're not continuing to get injured. You might look around and see if there are more Legos on the floor. Probably some other things going on about like who left Legos all over the floor, but that's separate from the pain component. But that's what pain is designed for. It's designed to alert us to danger. But the reality is that, you know, those kind of pain experiences, touching a hot stove, you know, stepping on a Lego, stepping on a nail, something that those are good. We need those to survive. But a lot of times, especially in our modern life, the pain persists from other things. It might be that, you know, you slept funny one night and, you know, your neck's a little sore the next morning, but then why is it still sore 2 weeks later, 2 months later, 2 years later? Why does it seem like it's been coming and going for all that time? So that is the result of basically our body's alarm system, the pain system, being extra sensitive. So that means that you're more likely to get pain. So that can happen because we don't understand why, and we're kind of questioning, like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's wrong with my body? Something's not right. Or we've tried a million things, or anxiety, stress. I think at this point, it's safe to say pretty much everyone has been under a tremendous amount of stress in the last year. So all of those things can lead to the pain persistent. And then there's the stress component, which, you know, I think is also important to kind of understand what our body's stress system is designed for. So if you were walking along in the woods and you came upon this scene, I think most of us can imagine how we would feel. Hopefully no one has experienced it. But when you see the bear coming, your body's fight or flight system is going to kick in. That's our stress system. Your heart rate's going to go up, your muscles are going to get tense, your, you know, breathing's going to get shallow. You're ready for battle, for fight, or to flight. I think I would flight from a bear. I think most people would. But those changes are going to help you run away to keep safe. They're going to, that muscle tension is going to help power you forward. The increased heart rate is going to help power you forward. It's helping to alert you that you need to do something. That's all a really good thing. And then the threat goes away. You're back in the pretty woods and your body comes back down to normal because it's the bear, you know, runs out. You see it run way off into the woods and you're back on a, you know, well-worn path, and you're able to kind of let your heart rate come down, your muscles relax, you maybe felt a little tense, but you can just shake it off. But the problem is in our current lives where, you know, it's the pandemic, we've got news, remote school, work stress, all of these things that are happening. And even before the pandemic, it was the same way of work stress and getting to get the kids from school and get to the events and all of that. It's like there's always a bear coming at us. So, you know, rather than being able to be this quick, rapid stress response and then it can calm back down, we are constantly hitting that stress response all throughout the day. I'm often saying, like, I think that our bodies were designed for all the, like, for pain and for stress for like when we were cavemen, like to save our lives. And the problem is they still function the same way in 2021. It's honestly not super efficient for the way that we currently live our lives. But that's how our bodies work. So, you know, it takes that big toll on pain and just on us in general. So the reality, though, is there are things we can do about it. So we can recognize that we can't eliminate all the stressors, and you can take simple actions to reduce the impact that they have. So I think a lot of times people, you know, I've said this a few times, people, because it's a huge pet peeve of mine, people are like, just relax, just let go of the stress. That's just not reality for most of us. For most of us, like, the stress is going to be there. Things are going to come up. You're going to take the dog to the vet and he's going to make a huge mess of your car and himself. You know, you don't know what's going to come, but we can find ways to address how much it's going to impact us. a lot of times stress and pain become this spiral. So we feel pain, we feel uncomfortable, we feel stressed, we didn't sleep well because we had a headache. And so now we're tired at work, and then we're frustrated, and it just all can kind of feed each other. And then next thing you know, it's been like 4 days and you've had a headache for 4 days and you're tired and stressed. So we're going to go through a few simple strategies. And the reality is that some of these things, when I talk to people about them, I always like to point out, like, they feel smaller sometimes than the problem. I had a client a couple months ago who was really suffering with really head to toe pain issues, and was very limited in what she was able to do day to day, wasn't really able to leave the house much, was in incredible amounts of pain. And we talked a lot about how, some of these simple things, we sat down together, we had a piece of paper out, we made a list of like 5 things she could do. And she's like, these just seem too small for how awful I feel. And it's definitely legitimate to feel that way. But the reality is we have to kind of take these small steps, and the little things start to add up. So just like the little stressors add up, like first it's just the phone call at an annoying time, and then it's like now the dog's jumping out of the car and trying to get out of his heart. Like all these little things add up, but little positive inputs can add up too. And so that's where it's, we're not trying to eliminate stressors. We're not trying to make like Zen all the time. I would love to meet that person if anyone knows that person, but the little things really do add up. So I recommend to people a lot of times, like, to truly just write these things down, stick it, on a Post-it note on their, in their office, or have it printed out hanging somewhere in the house of just reminders of a few things you can do. So if you have 1 minute, just focusing on your breathing, following the breath in and out, can be a great way to kind of just calm that nervous system down. So it's the reverse of the ready to fight a bear response, is just to calm the body down a little bit. The other thing, and I think everyone kind of knows this intuitively, and sometimes we forget how powerful it can be, is to just like shift positions, whether it's that you're feeling stress or you're feeling pain, like just change up where you're at. This opinion can be a little controversial, I think, but the reality is, yes, we want to think about ergonomics. I prop my laptop up and work with a separate keyboard, but the reality is you want to just be changing positions. If you have a perfect ergonomic setup and you don't move from it for 8 hours, you're going to feel pretty lousy at the end of the day. Or if you have your laptop on your lap on the couch and you slouch, you're going to feel pretty lousy after 8 hours. But a lot of times just a simple shift can make a big difference. I will admit, as a PT who works with this stuff all day long, I definitely will sit with my laptop on the couch for a while. Not ideal ergonomics, but sometimes I just need to get out of my desk chair. And so that goes along too with just kind of moving, standing up, just, reaching up or taking a little twist, anything to just kind of reset your body. So if you have 5 minutes, short meditation sessions. I think the word meditation can sometimes feel a little overwhelming to people, but it's really just kind of being present in the moment and, paying attention to your breathing. And I'm not sure if people have heard of them or used them, but Calm and Headspace are both apps that I really like, and they both do have some free options within them. Another thing I'll recommend, if you're feeling like overwhelmed, and is looking at your calendar. So you've got 5 minutes while you're sitting in the, while you're sitting in the car waiting for your groceries to come out or something, like take a look at your calendar, see if you can say, all right, I have a headache now, I am exhausted, I am stressed out, this week is crazy. Next week, I don't have anything on my calendar Tuesday afternoon. Like, I'm going to block the last hour of my day. I'm not going to tell my family, and I'm just going to go for a long walk or something, you know, just kind of looking ahead and planning that for yourself, which again, it, you know, can sound a little oversimplified in some ways, but we don't do it a lot. And it can make a big difference to just kind of say, hey, all right, I got to get through this week, and then next week I have that hour or whatever amount of time it is. And the other thing is just like taking a shift of what you're doing. So making a cup of coffee or tea or getting a snack. I say decaf, which some people might be cringing at. Certainly, I never tell anyone to take their caffeine away. But if you are really high stressed and you're feeling like just a lot of tension in your body, caffeine is just going to feed that. Might make you feel a little more alert, but it's just going to feed that stress response. So, you know, I never tell people to just like cut it out altogether, but definitely if it's the afternoon and like take a little break, get away, get some, you know, get yourself a nice something to drink, but maybe you get decaf or something like that to just not fuel that kind of adrenaline response in your body. So if you have 10 minutes, and again, these feel like simple things to say and to hear, but I think, you know, most of us don't always remember to do it. So going outside for a walk, just sitting outside. And one of the perks maybe for working from home for a lot of people is that you have better access to go maybe sit outside for 10 minutes or a half an hour on a phone call or something like that, just to get a little break. That's again gonna help decrease the stress, which will also help to decrease the pain. Or, you know, doing a short yoga sequence. Yoga with Adrian has some really great YouTube videos that are pretty short yoga sequences. I don't have it put together yet. I'm actually working on I'm not sure if it's going to be just a printout or if I'm going to do a video to go along with it of just kind of some quick yoga sequences, things you can kind of integrate into your day, not necessarily a like full on roll out your yoga mat practice, but more of a, like just incorporating it into your day to day. Because those things can make a big, you know, like I said, it's a little by little, a little becomes a lot. I had someone say that to me about something actually in starting my practice, and it's stuck with me for that. And I've started to incorporate it into work with my clients too, is that it is those little things. And then all of a sudden you look back and realize they've added up and you've got really far. So, you know, I mentioned one of my clients who, you know, felt like they were all kind of it felt like these were too simplified. And, you know, as she started to incorporate them, she noticed a difference. And one of my other clients I worked with this winter, Jenna, she had back pain and headaches for years. She'd had surgery, she'd been to PT, she had another surgery, she had injections. When she started working with me, she had about 5 minutes that she could walk at most, like out to the car and then back in. She wasn't going to get the mail. She wasn't going to see her grandson. She wasn't really able to do much at all at that point. And after working together for just 2 sessions, she was all of a sudden able to go outside and take a 10-minute walk. And a week or 2 later, she was able to go see her grandson. And you know, that was just us sitting down and looking at what are some of these little shifts she can make in her day to help better manage her pain. So she learned a lot about why she has pain and the role that other stressors in her life were playing. And we outlined those small actions she could take. And just like I said, little by little, little became a lot. And within a couple months, she went from not leaving her apartment really at all, other than for medical appointments, to going out for 3 to 4 mile walks most days and going to see her grandson whenever she wanted. And, the reality is she put in a lot of hard work, but it's not that there was some like magical thing. She's not, a magical unicorn that had the ability to conquer pain. It was just kind of taking the time to implement the strategies that worked for her. There was no magic behind it. So I have many clients who've been in that position and have found ways to, make their way forward. There is a science to finding the freedom from pain, like I said, but it's a little bit different for everyone. And that's the role I like to play, giving, personalized guidance, support, and accountability to put it into action can often be more helpful. But I do have all this information in today's presentation put together in a PDF ebook that I can put a link in the chat box if anyone would like to download that to have access to the information. And then in that, there's also information about how to, if you feel like you want a little bit more guidance, I do offer free strategy calls to about 30 minutes to just talk about kind of what challenges you're having, what's getting in the way of kind of managing them, and helping you to find a clear path forward. So last thing I want to share here is a quote. This is from BKS Iyengar. He's in yoga, and it says, "Where does the body end and the mind begin? Where does the mind end and the spirit begin? They cannot be divided, as they are interrelated, but different aspects of the same all-pervading divine consciousness." So it's really that piece of looking at, sometimes people hear these things and it's not that your pain's in your head, it's that everything is intertwined, and we want to look at all aspects of it. Whether it's your neck that hurts, a headache, your shoulder that hurts, you're a person, you're not a shoulder. It's all together. So I'm going to stop the screen share here. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer questions. Does diet play a role? So diet can definitely play a role. That's not where my area of expertise is. I actually have a few dietitians that I've been connecting with recently to try and kind of get a little bit more in on that, because it really can play a role. And I think it's with what you're eating, there are foods that are more inflammatory versus anti-inflammatory that can kind of stir up the system. Or like I said, like caffeine and sugar can kind of amp up the stress response and anxiety response and impact pain. And even it's just like, if you're not eating great, you're not feeling great, you're not moving much, that can impact pain as well. Does that answer your question, Lynn? Oops. So I'm going to, yeah, I think I had sent you the book, Lisa, but I will send it to you again, because I think I sent you a version that I found a few typos in. So I will send, I'll send that to you. And if you could send that out to people, that'd be great.
Yeah, and if you end up creating a flyer for like yoga postures or stretches and such, if you have it, I can share it, or if you're not ready for it, that's okay as well, but happy to share.
Yeah, I don't have it put together right now, but I could, I'll send it to you once I have it. I'm actually doing a yoga workshop in a couple weeks, so I'm like piecing it together, but haven't quite put it all in one place yet.
Yeah, of course. So I would love to make sure we have like your contact information, where people can reach you if they want to talk about the 30-minute session that you mentioned, which sounds really good. And then if you want to send me an updated copy of the ebook we can
Yep.
link it up and then also put it in the follow-up notes along with the recording. So that would be great. And then there was a follow-up question about pillow recommendations. And I like that one because I use a really soft pillow that I squish into the tiniest little thing. And I don't know if it's the best idea for a neck because I don't like the firm, foamy kind. And what are you, good question. Thank you. What are your thoughts on the pillows?
So just, that does depend on what position you're sleeping in. The first thing I always say when people ask me about mattresses or pillows or what position to sleep in is like the number one is the pillow that you can fall asleep using or the position you can fall asleep in. Like that's the best one. That's the top, is getting sleep. But yes, there is also looking at, what shifts can you make. So if you sleep on your back, a flatter pillow is better. Because you're going to keep that kind of neutral positioning through the neck if you're on your back with a flatter pillow. And then if you're on your side, usually one that's a little bit firmer. So kind of filling in from the shoulder to the neck. If you have a really flat pillow, you end up kind of compressing here. If you have one that's super bulky, you end up pushed up this way. I think, a lot of times the kind of, and this is, I should practice what I preach on this one and get some new pillows myself. I'm in the same position, Lisa, where I ball my pillow up every night to make enough of a pillow to use. The other thing that you can do, since I'm in my bedroom because it was the quietest place to go in the house, you can take a towel. In a very convenient place for answering this question. So if you have a pillow that's really flat and you're sleeping on your side and you just feel like your neck is in a weird position, taking a towel and they make rolls that you can buy on Amazon. I just feel like they'll have towels around. Try that first. Just taking a towel roll that kind of fits in that gap a little bit. And then you can place it right into your pillow. Just kind of right on the end there. So it's just kind of filling that space a little bit while you're sleeping.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, it definitely, like I said, I always first priority is get sleep. It doesn't have to be perfect. But I know for myself too, sometimes you wake up and it's just like your pillow's not great. And that can just give that a little bit of extra support. Because I think sometimes if the pillow's too stiff, it's like, it just, I don't know, it's not comfortable for me. Like same as you, I don't like personally, this is my personal, not professional opinion. I don't like the foam ones. They're fine in terms of if you like them, but I just don't find it very comfortable. So I have, when my neck's bothered me before, I find that a towel roll just gets a little bit more snug for me.
That's a really good suggestion. Thanks for the hands-on demo too, getting all the prep for us. We appreciate it.
Well, I'm sitting here across from my bed and I'm like, I might as well just grab a pillow.
Yeah, no, I totally appreciate it. So I see a bunch of thank you comments in the chat. Looking to see if there's any others. I don't think, I know for me, the caffeine definitely, I love it until I get into that area where it's too much. And then I know I've gone too far and it's hard to reverse and definitely can add to the stress. So I liked all the tangible changes too that seem, manageable, that you can incorporate rather than being unrealistic to think, just sit by the ocean all day. Of course, no one can do that. Yeah, exactly. But I really appreciate sharing all of the tips and providing the guidance and sharing your expertise with us. I thought it was wonderful. And I really appreciate everyone coming out and joining us tonight. And I'm glad we're able to tape it as well so people can watch it later. And I took a few notes. Look, I have my own little thing for my office. I'll shoot. You know what? I have a screen because I'm in my kids workout area. So You can't see it. That's why you can't see my note. But I definitely took some notes I'm going to put by my desk and try those strategies. So, well, thank you so much. Yeah, it was wonderful. Good
Thank you,
tip,
Katie.
good thing, very relevant in this day and age that we all need to remember to take good care of ourselves. That's for sure.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, as I said, I'll send everyone the ebook and the follow-up information, and really appreciate your time and expertise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.